All right, good morning. Welcome back to Trigonometry. So, we're going to start working on some word problems. I know everybody's been looking forward to this, but this problem right here, we have this river, okay, with 2 points that are separated by, I guess, 500 feet, and there's a point across the river. We're going to make the assumption that the lines are going to be parallel here, and we're going to try to figure out the width of the river based on what's going on here. First thing we have to do, let's draw a picture. Okay, so we're going to try to, I know we have a picture, but we're just going to draw one we can kind of mark up and figure out what we're trying to do with this here. Okay, so we have, here we go. We're going to say that this is 500 right here. We have a point A, we have a point B. We have across the river. There's a point C over here. Okay, our goal is to figure out what is the width of this river. All right, we just assume that the width is constant through the whole way here, and that's how we're going to think about this. And then we have 56 and 41 degrees. So here we go. We have 56, 41. That's a terrible triangle, but this is 56 degrees over here. This is 41 degrees. And we're going to try to figure out what's going on here. Now, a couple of things. One, we're still doing right triangle trigonometry. So in order to do anything, we have to have a right triangle. This is not a right triangle. It's like, could we figure out what this angle is? Yeah, we certainly could because the triangle has to add up to 180 degrees. That's all triangles. So if we really wanted to figure out this angle right here, we could. But the thing I don't want to do is it's like try to split this thing and say, oh, well, it's going to be a right triangle. We will actually do a little bit of that. Okay. But the problem with this is that when I split this thing, I don't know like what kind of side this is going to be. Like I don't know how long this is. It's not going to be right in the middle. Okay, so we could do that, and then we may not really want to bother trying to figure out this angle because I don't think it's really going to matter. We can figure out part of the angle because if I do split this thing, right, we will have a 90 degree sitting here. All right. So since I know that this piece here is 56 degrees, I can figure out this angle. I know this is 41 degrees. I can figure out this little angle. Okay, we might do that. But since I don't know what the side here is, we're going to call this side X, and we're going to call this side 500 minus X. That when we add them up together, we'll get 500. Okay, so here we have our two triangles where we have a side of X and we have a side of 500X. We have a value of 56 degrees here. We have a value of 41 degrees here. So do I really care about these lengths right here? Not really, but there is a height here that I would like to, well, we'll keep it W. Okay, we'll keep it as W. So what we're going to do is like, well, I need to figure out what can I do to relate it looks like the opposite side of this angle and the adjacent side of this angle. We're also going to go on the other side of this piece, and we have to figure out what's the opposite side of that angle and then the adjacent side of that angle. To me, it sounds like we're looking at a lot of tangents here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that the tangent of 56 degrees must equal the W divided by X. Okay, that's going to be the opposite over the adjacent. We drew a little thing here. We have a right triangle, so we'll be okay. Again, we're assuming these sides are parallel. Okay, we can also on the other side at the same time say that we have the tangent of 41 degrees is equal to W over 500 minus X. Okay, and that's what we're going to try to do with this. Okay, let's go ahead and simplify this a little bit because I prefer not to deal with the fractions, but we're going to say this is X times tangent of 56 degrees. Go ahead, make sure I've got the tangent of 56 degrees. Okay, tangent of 56 degrees, and that is equal to W. And then we have 500 minus X times the tangent of 56 or 41 degrees rather is equal to W. And now we can start thinking about how to solve this thing because since 56 tangent times X is 56, sorry, tangent times the tangent of 56 degrees is equal to W, and 500 minus X times the tangent of 41 degrees is equal to W, then we can equate these two expressions together. So we could do something like, let's do with X times the tangent of 56 degrees is equal to 500 minus X, parentheses, tangent of 41 degrees. And then right now we have an additional step here. It would have been smarter for me to like maybe separate the X's so we could have the W's, but if we get the X's, we'll know what W is going to be. Okay, so we could go ahead and figure that out. All right, so let's go ahead and we have X times tangent of 56 degrees, which is just a number, equals 500 tangent of 41 degrees minus X times the tangent of 41 degrees. I just distributed this expression through the tangent of 41 degrees. We're going to go ahead and pull the X on all the X's to one side so we can figure out what X actually is going to be. So we're just going to add X times the tangent of 41 degrees on both sides times 41 degrees over on both sides. So we could say this is X times the tangent of 56 degrees plus X times the tangent of 41 degrees is equal to 500 times the tangent of 41 degrees. Don't go multiplying or adding anything with the tangents. Like these are their own separate numbers. We can't add them together or anything like that. We can, but it's a more of a complex process. We're not going to do that. Okay. It's easier to say, okay, we have X times tangent of 56 degrees plus the tangent of 41 degrees, and that is equal to 500 times the tangent of 41 degrees. Now we could just go ahead and solve for X, where we would say X is equal to 500 times the tangent of 41 degrees divided by the tangent of 56 degrees plus the tangent of 41 degrees. We're going to go ahead and put this in our calculator so we know what X is after this. But that's like one of those little, here we have a result, and all of these are numbers. You will have calculators. You do not have to look these numbers up. You certainly wouldn't have never memorized these numbers because why the heck would you care what the tangent of 41 degrees is? I wouldn't. So we can go ahead and do that. So we're going to say this is 500, okay, times the tangent. Let's actually do two things here. Let's go make sure that we are actually in degree mode. So we're going to go down here to make sure we're in degrees. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, so we have tangent of, where's my tangent? Of 41 degrees. Okay, and parentheses. And then divided by, be very careful with your parentheses here because everything's going to have a big thing with this. So we have the tangent, so we have parentheses, tangent. You could have done this in a different order, by the way, too. The tangent of 56, parentheses. Okay, so that's the tangent of 56 plus the tangent of 41. Okay. If you're going to do intermediate calculations, I would say keep it to at least 4 decimal places. Okay. So we can actually figure out what's going on with that. Because 4 decimal places, the chances of you making a round off mistake, uh, it happens, but usually you'll be safe to 3 decimal places if you take four. All right. And if you're going to be engineering students, eventually all of your engineering teachers will be happy if you take 4 decimal places. Okay. So I got my X to be 184.8093. So tangent. So X equals 183 point. Let's go ahead and back to this up here. 184. 184. Okay, let's make sure that's 4. All right. 184 point 8093. 184.8093. Double check that to make sure I wrote down the right number. 8093. Perfect. Okay, that was my X. All right. And now we could go all the way back up to the beginning and say, okay, what the heck was going on with this? We first started this problem. We had it was tangent of 56 was equal to W over X. So let's go ahead and we remember that. So the tangent, right, this is back from a long time ago, way back up here at the beginning, was W divided by X was W divided by my X, which is 184.8093. Okay, and I will just solve for W and say W is equal to 184.8093 times the tangent of 56 degrees. All right, and that should do it for W. That we will have our answer for this. All right. So that should do it as far as being able to solve that problem. That was kind of tough. Okay, so we have 184.8. We're going to say times the tangent of 56 degrees. So I just left it in the calculator because this is a fancy calculator. It lets you do that. All right. We'll go ahead and we'll type that in. Boom. So we got our W is equal to 273.99. I'm going to say that's going to be W equals 294. They didn't tell you how many decimal places to do this, but you know, that's I think they did their best to, obviously the problem came out of a textbook somewhere. I think what they wanted to do was to, have this thing reduced down to a convenient number. So we're going to say 294. Also, like, you look back at the beginning of the problem, and this is no decimal places for the angle, no decimal places for the angle. The 500 had no decimal places. I don't think they wanted a lot of decimal places with this. So we're going to say we're going to round it to the nearest integer. And since it came out to be 293.99, I think 294 is a fair thing to deal with. All right. So that is how you do a problem like that. And that was kind of, it's a little bit tricky. Okay. I won't lie to you. That one is a little bit tricky. So try to practice some. These are hard to find. Okay. Especially find with pictures. Okay. So I won't lie to you. That is kind of a tough thing to find. But I will say thank you very much for watching the problem here. And I will see you in the next video. Okay. Good luck.